do this. It's one of those times where I probably need 3 screens.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking it's the same thing.
It's like, no, dual monitor should be fine. I don't need to be that insane. Nope.
Yeah, it seems like streaming 3 screens is kind of needed.
Upgrade here from an office to a command center.
Yep.
Oh, hey.
Let's take
Yeah, watch your ass.
Oh, we have to sanitize today? All right.
Yeah, let's clean up the speak this time around.
Clean up the speak.
Well, as Kid Mister likes to say, how edgy are you guys?
How many gamer words do you want to deploy?
Oh, weird. Whoa, we are live.
There we go. Old school option.
Rad.
Noise.
Let's clean up the speak this time around.
Clean up the speak. Well,
Is anybody else's audio quality kind of fluctuating?
yeah, a bit.
Okay.
Not terribly though.
I guess
Like I haven't had any problems hearing anybody, which is nice.
as I'm showing 420 KB rate on my connection here, so
A real son of a gun.
gosh darn gee whiz.
Woohoo! Nice.
Hi YouTube. I'm sorry. I mean, oh wow! I go to my homepage and that's the first thing that pops up in my recommended videos.
Oh no shit! Let me take a look.
Noise.
Already done. I'll say let's not worry about Facebook this time around. We'll just use YouTube and let's roll.
Sweet.
All right then, and welcome to the Couch Command live on YouTube and eventually other places. With me today, I want to say Michael Taylor is our VJ. He's helping us get this rolling. So thank you, Michael. All right, and on the podcast, I also have Isaac.
Hey, I'm very excited to talk about the current state of the MCU.
All right, yep, from the Lobster Magnet Reviews YouTube channel, and also have New York actor Matt.
Hey, what's happening? I also want to talk about that, the MCU. But I like the Loki. Here's a spoiler. I enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
that'll be fun to talk about something I like.
Right, we may have to disagree on season 1. I look forward to our discussion on this.
Let's get to it.
Right, and then MJ. We also have MJ. How are you doing today?
Greetings and salutations. Thanks for having me back.
Okay, so today, our podcast is going to be on Loki season 1 and 2, and then also the general state of the MCU. MJ, where you made the notes on this? Where would we be starting?
Just general takes on season 2.
All right, then you should lead. MJ, what's your general take on season 2 and also season 1?
General take was, holy crap, where have you guys been sitting on this? We've waited through the last 2 years of what post-pandemic MCU, and now you guys finally roll out something that's mostly competent, fairly consistent, and actually compelling to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Waiting for this for quite a while, so I'm glad they finally came out with it. Marvel deciding to go with Michael Waldron to take the reins on the upcoming Avengers movie was pretty wise based on what he and his team put out with this one. But I was I was very happy to see what they did with season 2 and the whole totality of the arc of Loki from beginning of season 1 through the end of season 2. Even though they did kind of lay some eggs for
Marvel
potentially doing a season 3 or whatever, but even though there's been a lot of talk about it not happening, but I wouldn't mind seeing a season 3 based on what they left off with at the end of season 2.
All right, Isaac, what's your feelings on Loki season 2 and 1?
All right. I am going to. First of all, I kind of love how the elephant of the room. That originally this was supposed to be Loki and the Marvels, but half of the people here have not seen the Marvels except for me and MJ. Which shame on you! Shame on you!
This is indicative of the quality of the Marvels.
Oh,
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
pushing glasses up on nose.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
But what was I going to say? I think I'm going to be like, I'm going to be the most negative here about Loki season 2. I do think that like the final episode was probably the strongest thing of phase 5 and maybe even phase 4. But I do think it was kind of meandering and rudderless. And I just feel that like, the Loki is probably the centerpiece of the multiverse saga, and the fact that the multiverse saga has kind of fallen all around it has like greatly diminished my interest and investment in Loki season 2. And I also think that like the Loki season finale feels like a brilliant season finale for 5 seasons for a TV show we never got.
Yeah,
a brilliant series finale for 5 seasons of a show we never got.
All right. And then let's see. I'm going out of order. Am I next, or did I get everybody else?
Jack Falconer.
Yeah, it's you or me, bud.
Oh, then you, Matt.
Okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I totally hear, Isaac, what you're saying about it being sort of meandering. Simply, I think because of all the time traveling that they ended up, quote unquote, having to do for this. But I will say, frequently with time travel in anything, I tend to get confused. And I really never found myself confused during the entire process. And I thought that kind of showed that they had some really, really solid storytelling. I never lost interest. I enjoy all the characters. I thought it had decent writing. Loki personally is one of my favorite MCU characters, and it was really interesting seeing his evolution throughout this whole thing. And then also kind of thinking about like just how much of a variant is he compared to our original Loki? Whether he is actually like kind of a better guy, or would our Loki have ended up being like this if given the opportunity as well?
Or Loki Prime.
Yeah, Loki Prime, exactly.
Or Loki Sacred, or whatever they wanted to label it this week.
Can I interject into that thought? Because like I feel like our variant Loki basically becomes Loki Prime. And this was always one of the things I hated most about the first. Well, one of the things I didn't like in the first season, how he watches a clip show from the movies and basically goes through the arc to become good Loki.
Yeah, true. Like instantly. He instantly went through his like Vegeta arc.
He watches the clip show and he goes through his Vegeta arc.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me jump in on that because I'm gonna get my general impressions, and part of this has to do with his fast run through his redemption in season 1. So yeah, I'm with MJ on like season 2 is a return to form. I think like this is as good as like how we kind of expect the MCU to be. I felt with the time traveling, it was very well structured so that I never got lost. I was always like well placed in the world and knowing what the next objective is going to be. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed how much of a centerpiece Loki finally became on his own show, because that's my critique of the first season. And
having, if I can interject for 1 second on that, I did rewatch season 1 after season 2 ended, because I've realized, oh wow, maybe I should take another look at season 1. Yeah. Season 1 actually meandered way more than season 2, and as much as we kind of thought that they did kind of over concentrate on the potential love arc between Sylvie and Loki, Loki was still Loki was still way more front center of his own arc in the first season than I even realized after watching it originally. So,
All right.
having season 2 to kind of refocus it really helped.
Yeah, my memory of it made it feel like it was a fast run to making Sylvie the most important person in the show, and lots of agency lost by Loki, who I really felt he was sidelined and kind of like, cheering for her to do all the things in the show. And it ultimately, like, yeah, by the end of it, it was like her choice to strike down He Who Remains. And like, I came here to see Loki. And here, now I do get to see Loki as a center, but now all the other characters get to play as like not competing shadows to him, but like complementary to his story, so that now the more characters like they feel more alive to me now. They're more fleshed out and like with purpose versus like I was gonna say, like I really did feel like season 1 there was like a lead writer, I forget her name, but it felt like she was kind of writing herself in this story. And I'm not gonna rag on her too much because that's like 100% of like all the stories I've ever done. So I get like the desire to do that, and I really felt that it took away the spotlight from who we came for, and I felt that was fully fixed in season 2 to the point where, yeah, like he left on like quite the high note of, if he doesn't come back, that's kind of like a good way to tap out of the MCU.
As far as the creatives in season 1, Kate Herron directed all the episodes, but they had different writers for every episode of season 1. That was one of the things I noticed about season 2 is it was a lot more consistent because Eric Martin wrote or co-wrote every episode of season 2. He's one of Michael Waldron's big collaborators, and they had basically the same directors for half the season in season 2. So there's way more consistency from the creatives behind it than they had in season 1.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I was wondering. I could feel it. I was wondering who is the person that. Oh, sorry.
If Waldron and Martin end up taking over the Avengers movies based on what we saw from Loki season 2, I have a little more confidence in it. Though I'm still kind of interested to see what Jeff Loveness, the guy who wrote Quantum Mania, would have been doing with it before he was thrown from it.
Well,
I guess my
community alum.
My fundamental annoyance with season 2, because you're 100% right, Keith. Season 2 is basically what season 1 promised to be before it threw the Sylvie curveball, because at first it seemed like, it's going to be this fun procedural. Loki's going to be try to be the smartest guy, and then Owen Wilson's going to be like, "Oh shucks, you think you're the master of deceiver, but I can see through you with my Midwestern charm," and that was the sort of fun balance that we were going to kind of see them bouncing off of each other as they do like timey-wimey Doctor Who shenanigans. But then it kind of meandered into this big, this is the multiverse and the source of creation and the next big bad and the Sylvie Power Hour. While the season 2 basically does give you the more Mobius Loki, I guess my fundamental problem is that season 2 destroys the setup of or is working from the destroyed setup of season 1, where the TVA is on the verge of collapse, all time is on the verge of collapse. So you don't really get that. To me, it's kind of similar to what happened with Rise of Skywalker, where you have this 45-minute dumb adventure chasing down MacGuffins because you didn't have any time with the 3 leads where they could just hang out and develop a bond like the original Star Wars cast. So because of that, they had to make it up for it. So it felt like we were getting what we were promised, but it was all leading towards the finale, the end of everything. Mm-hmm. But I did like the final episode. What was a lot of fun with him, jumping between time periods and trying to fix it. And I did love that. I thought that gimmick was where it all sort of kind of came together and sold me a bit better on it versus the beginning of the season where it's is the TVA good? Is the TVA a necessary evil? Oh, the TVA is bad because they get rid of people's destinies. But Kang, maybe Kang was right because the universe is going to implode if we just let the multiverse spring, and we have to have one timeline because there's no solvable problem for this.
Mm-hmm. Now, the thing about the finale, they left it kind of leaves the MCU in a more actionable position than it has been up until now, because the finale actually made direct ties back to the original Thor movie, even back to Captain America: First Avenger, because Loki sacrificed himself and took over all the timelines that were dying and took responsibility for them and formed Yggdrasil, the tree that connects all 9 realms that Thor was explaining to Jane in the first Thor movie. And then they're even direct quotes.
Okay, all right. I gotta put on my hater pants. That all sounds great in theory, but it is never explained. And like everyone online on Twitter was like, "Oh, Loki's the master of stories. He's the master of stories as he sits in the Yggdrasil tree." How the hell did he know? All right, the solution to the problem is I walk into the void of infinity, and somehow I get a super cool suit with like big horns, and I'm just gonna weave these into a tree. Where was that?
It was a super cool suit, though. You have to admit.
It's a great scene. It's a great scene. I will give you that. It is a wonderful, beautiful scene. But where in the text? The purpose.
I have an idea.
In the text, I would go first. In the text, he is a god, and this is like him after who knows how much long, like thousands, maybe millions of years of like honing time skills and whatnot, that he would be able to become a focal point to hold together space-time. And
just one scene, just one fucking scene where maybe he talks to Chris. Oh, sorry. Well, I can curse a little bit on one fracking scene where Loki talks to like Chris Hemsworth or Odin, and maybe he explains Yggdrasil. Like that would have been cool. Nice Anthony. Like you're right. It's a beautiful, wonderful scene. It's an emotionally cathartic scene. It's this great thing where Loki finds his glorious purpose, where he's alone, but he's preserving all the threads of all the destinies of the MCU. It's all canon thanks to Loki, who has gone on his hero's journey. Oh my God, this is the Loki that people wanted to see. But I guess I just would have liked one tiny thing to set it up versus like just kind of like random things that have never happened before.
I think they were kind of going with this. It was Loki's leap of faith, because he'd been on the entire time looping journey for the last 2 episodes, and when he finally had that confrontation with He Who Remains and realized, oh, everything we've been doing up to now is futile, there's no way to fix it, so I need to come up with a third option. And
that's like story thematic. That's gonna be like story thematic, a good ending to his story. But what Isaac I think is saying is like we did need one scene ever in the MCU that said like people who are gods like this are capable of being the heart of a universe or multiverse. Like we've never seen a being like that. Have we?
Odin says that like Yggdrasil is the great tree that connects all stories. It is withered and died, but you, Loki, my son, or you, Thor, I believe you will be able to bring it back. Blah blah blah. Just like one line, one throwaway line.
That's a movie 12 years ago. You remember every line of dialogue from Thor? I mean, come on.
I think another problem is like something I've been noticing about. Real quick, something I've been noticing about like creation, which is that a lot of this really keeps on looking like how people run Dungeons and Dragons games, and they're like playing them on the fly, and then they figure out a cool ending right there, versus like a book writer who can structure this and plan it out and make sure the pieces are in places. And Matt Schrader, you're like one of the first clues as to like this is how things might be, because like different directors keep on having different ways of doing things, and that it's a collaborative process to get to the finish line at all. So that with all the things going wrong in the MCU, like they're not making money on Kang. He isn't a good money draw. It wasn't well done, and like it seems like they're trying to whittle the MCU down more into a focus, and this is like the final answers on like the last 6 months they had.
Yeah, they're definitely. I agree with you on the point that they are trying to whittle things down. And I have heard. I mean, you can just like look in the last episode where they're talking about, they're taking out versions of Kang, right? Of He Who Remains, and they talk about, oh yeah, there's one on 616, but he was taken care of. So they're cutting that off because they know that that it's not going to work, right? The Kang's not going to work anymore for various reasons. And really, it's either this or a reset at this point, because at the moment things are kind of crashing and burning in a not great way. So yeah, to get a nice little focal point, I think is really what they're trying to do. So yeah, I think that's well said. But yeah, it is interesting though, the point that like what Isaac, I do agree with you in that they really never mentioned it, but it didn't feel rushed. And I think that going back maybe 5 or 10 minutes, the thing I was about to say was basically what you said, Keith, is that Loki had been time looping for hundreds or thousands of years, and he just figured it out. It's kind of like, oh, there's only one way. It was that kind of situation. Is what we saw there. But yeah, he didn't specifically say it, but he was kind of like, as he went along there, he's like, oh, I can just fool around with time now. So he essentially became one of the most, and also really quick, this kind of like takes him out of the picture. He's almost too powerful now.
Yep.
Because he can just go do whatever he wants. So this kind of takes him away.
Yes, no, because I mean that's kind of the debate. I mean, there are a lot of people thinking he's the god of stories now when he's not. At no point have they said that he could actually rewrite reality. He's mainly just caretaking reality at this point. So he's more like
Anchor.
Atlas. You're looking for a comic book equivalent.
Like he's a reality anchor.
Right.
And also, I thought they were
Alice
trying to do
Comics. That's exactly what he's doing. He's just anchoring the realities and caretaking the realities at this point.
Also, real quick, what I thought he was trying to do is limit the amount of realities. Like, I don't know if it was said or anything, but infinite realities is too much. That it does ruin the MCU, but a finite number is awesome, and that they could work with. So I was kind of wondering if that was being implied at all with like how he's only able to grab so many strands. And I don't know, did anyone see that? Was that a thing that you feel like they were trying to do?
And I do actually think so, because limitations actually makes any story you're telling better. That's like, if you're telling a story or if you're writing, and you can do whatever you want, it's going to be not a good a project. It's going to be not a good a product as if you have limitations. Limitations can really help stimulate creativity. So just as from a writing standpoint and a creation standpoint.
I think you're giving them a lot of no prizes. I mean, you're right. Like, this Loki thing is so ambiguous. I don't think they have any plan for it, but it could be used in any ways. Like, if you want to get rid of Kang, Loki purges all of the Kangs, and that somehow leads to the rise of Doctor Doom, which is rumored to be like being set up as the new big bad to try and recover things, any like things like that falls away or forgotten. Loki had to prune it to keep the tree fresh. I assume the Loki going forward is going to be like the no prize or the narrative excuse to kind of like justify any retcon or anything they do going forward.
It just turns out that him and Watch are just sitting around on a couch watching everything going, yeah, this is fun.
I noticed they also call it 616 adjacent, and not 1999.
Well, that's the Sony designation. It's not.
Or you guys know the difference between that, or do you guys anybody else notice that?
Wait. When did they say 616 adjacent?
At the very end, when they're saying like they're like hunting down Kangs, and they're talking about, and then we took down one on 616 adjacent.
Oh, that's probably because they were in the quantum realm.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then they'll still make it the MCU 616, and there's like an argument that 616 is supposed to be comic book, Marvel, but MCU.
It's like
not that.
I think it's like saying 616B or something. Yeah, that's my
There's
theory.
a quantum realm in every other Marvel world. Oh God.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
The MCU world has now given two names, or actually, like, so in MCU they call it 616. And in the Sony Marvel universe, they call it 1999. So
really,
I I can't wait to see the the Marvel verse. Oh my God, is that going to collapse so hard next year?
Actually, you know what? I was trying to figure out why Sony is pursuing that so hard. I was doing box office comparisons between Marvel and the Fox Marvel movies and the Sony Marvel movies.
Mhm.
Sony has made a massive profit off of all those movies. The only one that really clunked was Morbius, but Sony has made money on basically all the other ones.
Well, that's because they all had Spider-Man in them.
Mm.
All these other ones don't have Spider-Man.
And low budgets.
The ones that made money.
was
Well,
that?
I guess Venom and Spider-Man. So it's either Spider-Man or the guy who kind of looks like Spider-Man, but he's goopy.
Yeah, Goopy Spider-Man. Exactly.
And
Because like Spider-Man is still one of the most popular characters, which is why they will hold on to him with the death grip forever. But like I don't see people getting excited for Madam Web. I don't think
Kraven.
people
No,
see
it's not happening.
or Craven. They both look dead on arrival. The not Spider-Man. What's the line starting to become a meme? My father was looking for researching spiders in the Amazon.
Oh no! Is that from Madam Web?
Yes, it's the Madam Web trailer.
That's ridiculous. Oh my God. I did watch it, but I've already tried to purge it from my brain. I think that's not.
I
nice.
wonder. Huh. So, Secret Wars is going to be a Sony, Fox, Disney crossover then, right? Is that?
I have no idea what
that's what it
Secret
seems like it's
Wars is
angling
gonna be.
towards.
But we
Once
kind of
Marvel-
have to be, right? Because X-Men are a huge part of Secret Wars.
Yeah. Secret Wars is an excuse for, like you guys know, I'll just say the background of Secret Wars was, I think, like Infinity War did really well, and they wanted that again, but to sell some toys. So they chose two words that like kids really like, secret and wars, and they made this event where basically they created this like battlefield and said, as many toys as you want on this battlefield, make them fight each other. So Secret Wars is choose anyone you want to and make them fight each other. And then in modern Secret Wars, there was a collision of universes that created a merger between the Ultimate Universe and normal Marvel Universe. So this Secret Wars event is going to be a reboot. They're going to make as many stars as they can afford to fight each other and then merge the universe. And
Or
restart.
using words that Bob Iger would love, it's going to be synergy. Lots of synergy.
Well, I mean, like, I guess, like, if we just dance back and forth between MCU and Loki, it looks like that this big finale that is being created is going to be in the hands of Sam Raimi. So I think we might be in good hands, right? Or is
I don't want Sam doing it. And then
You're very generous to the like after the multiverse of madness. Not that I think Sam Raimi is a bad filmmaker. I think they want an experienced guy who can work with big budgets and deliver it on time. But I don't think. I don't want to see Young Avengers. Like like half of your people here. Do you know about the big thing at the end of
Yes.
the Marvels where Kamala Khan walks up to Kate Bishop? She tries to do her Nick Fury impression, implying that they're going to have a Young Avengers with all young teenage girls.
yes?
Mhm.
Oh no! All teenage
well, it's not
girls. They
expressly
definitely left out.
said by Kamala Khan at the end of that episode. But she does the whole I'm putting together a team thing, and she's sitting in the dark like Nick Fury was at the end of Iron Man, and all cutesy. But
It's
wait,
supposed
they're
to be like
leaving
a
out
cutesy.
Real quick, they're leaving out the black dude Patriot.
the black
Is
dude.
that what happened?
Maybe Riri Williams will fit his role.
There's
You know,
a
they
black
play
Captain
they play
America kid.
Oh, from
recently
Falcon Winter
that
Soldier.
they introduced.
From where?
They introduced a young black boy who is like, I think he's called the Patriot or Super Patriot. No, he's not Super Patriot.
Is he the grandson of the first Captain America?
Isaiah? I'm not sure.
Yeah, Isaiah
Maybe.
Bradley.
Yeah, but he was on there. He might be. But like I guess like in the rush for the Young Avengers, which I don't think is happening, they just forgot about him. I'm just saying.
Nah, end of Marvels kind of says otherwise, buddy.
Say again?
The end of the Marvels says otherwise.
So he was there.
No,
No,
he wasn't.
just the kind of like what they had at the end of Iron Man, just the inkling of the formation of a new Avengers team. Kate Bishop and Kamala Khan be the first members, and whoever
And
else.
then Cassie Kang, whatchamacallit, Scott,
Cassie Lang,
yeah,
and then
Cassie Lang,
yeah.
She-Hulk. This is nothing official. This is just me throwing guesses based on what we've seen. I don't think any of this is going to happen, just like the Rey Skywalker movie. But I think it's going to be dead in the water. But it was almost like a parody, is the much belighted phrase MCU. It was kind of like the worst case scenario, like the beyond parody that the Chudiverse spouts brought into reality and made manifest via the South Park.
Oh my God, made manifest.
Although I'm just kind of curious though, like, is Miss Marvel like a dead brand? Because like, as far as I can think of, I can't think of anything the character has been in that's been really super successful.
Are we,
Kamal,
are we talking about the live action or comic book?
Yeah.
Anything. The Avengers video game for Square Enix lost money that she was the kind of like lead main character for, to the point where they delisted it from digital storefronts. You can't buy it. You can only buy physical copies of it for however long those servers will run. Multiple.
No, she's like not. So like it's another one of those situations that we're still, I think, at the end of, where the corporation is telling you, all right, this person is the most important person. Everybody now come to this person, and like they try to make her a big deal. And I feel like I think everyone on the planet wants the actress to have a great career. Like every time someone talks about the movie, everyone still loves this actress. It's just like this character and what they're doing with her, like. The people who are fans of MC aren't jazzed. We're like, I guess that's fine, but it takes more than liking the actress for it to be involved in the character.
Yeah. The actress is very fine. She's very sweet. I hope she has a good career, although I'm getting like, she's just going to be stuck in convention purgatory for the rest of her life, unfortunately. I hope she gets to do other things.
I can't believe it's like one movie away from like they'll harness exactly her look and whatever. Like she seems to have a thing. If she gets like the right movie, maybe.
She needs to be like cast immediately as like kind of like the cute nerdy tech support girl who's actually like hotter than you think she is, who like wears glasses and is like in The Boys. She needs a really strong role like that in like a TV series or movie to kind of like show that she's more than just like the stand-in for Miss Marvel. I'm even looking at her IMDb and I'm only like seeing like 3 things. I'm not seeing any like or 4 things, but I'm not seeing her in anything else that's not Marvel.
She's probably locked down by her contract being Kamala Khan at this point, but I kind of agree with you, Isaac, that maybe she needs to find her Indiana Jones role, so that she doesn't get pigeonholed as Kamala Khan forever, kind of like Harrison Ford isn't forever pegged as being Han Solo because he's also Indiana Jones, and kind of use that to branch out.
Not to chuckle at, I find her to be such a good presence that I thought she had way more acting roles than just this. This is like she's just been Miss Marvel, looks like.
No, Kamala Khan was her big break.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's a huge break, and she's very young. She's going to be
what, 20?
Like, yeah, is she even something like that? Yeah, and so like, no, she's got plenty of time to like invent, reinvent, go to college, come back, do whatever she wants for ages. She'll be fine.
It's a good first step. I just like I said, like
it's an amazing
like everybody else. I think she's that good that I thought she'd have like 20 credits behind.
No, she is again like unless she was like a child actor, she wouldn't have had that much stuff. And again, I think MJ's right that she probably got locked down by Marvel things, so she'll be doing Marvel things for a while, and then after that, she can do whatever the heck she wants.
Oh, yeah.
I did think it was interesting that they kind of had Brie Larson kind of follow the Iman Vellani template for personality, and not only the Marvels but also promoting the movie now that the actor strike is over. Because I sent you guys all the link of Brie Larson on the Tonight Show after the strike ended, and she was just oozing Iman Vellani energy that whole time she was sitting there. I'm like, good Lord, someone was coached.
Yeah, I think she
yeah,
was.
she see the Marvels. She was like, her energy was a clone of Iman Vellani. She was just like bubbly and
Yeah,
quirky.
it's really not
complete-
surprising. I
yeah.
think you're exactly right, MJ, that she probably got some coaching, because I literally have seen videos of Brie Larson for like, these videos on YouTube called like Charisma on Command, and they want
Yes,
to have
I've been seeing the breakdowns of like how she's
if they need a bad example, they use Brie Larson.
needs a lot more coaching.
Yeah, and so that made me
What are you
feel
gonna say?
bad. I'm like, she's not doing any of this. I think she's just kind of awkward is all that's going on. That's all it is. Like, and so like, yeah, she certainly got some coaching. That's probably why we saw a big turnaround.
Is this the interview that you meant? With her kind of like bringing the Iman Vellani personality?
Yeah. Yeah, because you could tell that in addition to that, they were probably all being coached up as our projected numbers for the Marvels look horrible. Please, please, please help us sell this movie.
Yeah,
I do see far more like humble playing to the audience versus entitled like I am Captain Marvel. I earned $1 billion. I think I know what I'm doing. Kind of attitude.
right. Nobody likes that.
Nope. Yeah, the
And
smugness.
she's going to hear about it. And she's human, so she's not going to like that people don't like it. And neither will people who want these movies to make money.
I like Iman Vellani's take on it, which would have been mine. Woo! I was in a $100 million movie. It didn't make any money. Woo! I was still in a $100 million movie. So
Tiger sweated out. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I will say that, yeah, Iman Vellani did like a really good job at the press tour saying, well, like, that's Bob Iger's problem. I did what I was asked to do, and let them cook.
Well, Mom doesn't care because now she's writing the Miss Marvel book for Marvel Comics. So
I still think that's the most desperate thing. We have no idea what to do with this freaking character, so let's just have the girl who was our like $100 million cosplay for her write her like real fan fiction. Like I don't know, like I guess me and MJ are the only ones who've seen the Marvels and the Miss Marvel TV show, right?
Mm-hmm. I've seen a few episodes of Miss Marvel.
All right, so here's my question: how come you didn't finish it?
I just kind of forgot about it.
I started it and I was like, I don't wanna. I mean, there's so many other things I could watch, and
but you're racist. The first few episodes have that Spider-Man energy, and I'd say that the first few episodes are actually pretty decent. It's just the end that I kind of hated. So Keith, why didn't you embrace it?
So contrived.
I didn't embrace it because it's not a fantasy that I want. Like the only reason that I'd be showing up because it's MCU. And yeah, I think that's the biggest problem that the whole entertainment industry is facing. And what dawned on me when like Star Wars really took a plunge, which was I don't have to keep doing this. Like I only have a certain amount of hours per day, and I want to fill it up with things that I love. And she seems nice, but there's never been a point in my life where I'm like, man, I need a story about a stretching young girl and that and like
or energy blasting young girl.
Yeah, it's just like I hate elastic powers in the first place. It's just like,
but she doesn't have elastic powers. She's got energy projection.
to get around these stupid looking stretchy powers.
I think that was actually probably a good choice because the stretchy powers just don't look good.
No, never. At least at One Piece in the greatest story ever made has it ever worked. But,
yeah, I mean, like, look, like I don't think it has anything to do. I don't know. Like, listen, it's not going to work for Mr. Fantastic, and never has with any of the Fantastic Four movies. Those are all disasters.
No one has ever cheered when Mr. Fantastic extends his neck along so he can look around something. No,
I'm sure some people have cheered.
Awesome.
I'm sure some people have cheered, and then
I love the way he does that.
They needed some alone time after they cheer, but like,
yeah. Like when I could be watching like Stargate or martial arts or like all these things I'm genuinely interested in. The fantasy of Miss Marvel is just not there.
Yeah.
Well, here's the big problem I always think that they have with the character, and I guess this is endemic of Marvel as a whole, that like all Phase 4 Like it feels like the behind the scenes directive was, we're getting a lot of flack from all these bloggers and activists that Marvel Comics and the MCU has been led by straight white men. So let's workshop all this comics with all new, all different for all these great new diverse characters, so we can eventually make movies out of. But most of the characters never really hit. And one of the things I think why Miss Marvel never really hit is that she didn't have like a really interesting story conflict. I think there was this interview with Max Landis where he was talking about the character, and he was saying that like she has two things: she's a Muslim and she's a fangirl. That's it. She's only has two dimensions. That's not super interesting. So here are my two pitches that that could have made Miss Marvel hit a little harder versus like fighting an evil cockatiel. Yeah, that's one of our stories. A little evil cockatiel who thinks he's Thomas Edison. Go look it up. Miss Marvel versus the Inventor.
Are you kidding me? If I'd have known that, I would have finished it.
It's not in the TV show, only in the comics.
Well, all right.
Now.
This thing looks awesome. Listen, if cockatiels could do this on the daily, they would. They're by their nature evil.
Yeah, but is the cockatoo an inhuman or a mutant?
I love them.
And how many people on the planet are thinking that question? All 18.
So here's my two pitches for Miss Marvel to make the character interesting. Number one, make her brother or family member get powers too and become like radicalized by like some sort of MCU version of Islamic extremism. So that way you can have the classic.
Wow.
What's that?
Bring back the Flag Smashers from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, make like an Islamic version of them. Have her brother get into it and be like their flagship guy because he's got powers, and then she has to fight it. I know why they wouldn't do it because they want to portray Islamic people in the best light possible, which is nice, but it doesn't lead to like really super interesting story hooks, like Spider-Man's best friend is a supervillain, or all the shit that happens in a Spider-Man comic. That would be really interesting. Like, what is a modern Muslim person who's trying to live their life when they have these more radical interpretations of their religion that are being used for nefarious purposes? Maybe he has a point about something. You could have a lot of really spicy, really intense dialogue, a la what you see in Invincible. When J.K. Simmons and Stephen Yeun are going at it with like the best voice acting in American animation.
Oh my God, so good.
Yeah, and my other pitch is something that I would love to see dealt with in Marvel and DC. How do you maintain your faith in a world where aliens exist, where parallel dimensions exist, where there is a canonical version of God, the one above all else? How do you maintain your faith when you have like all this proof of the divine and the supernatural running amok casually? How do you still find your faith in Allah and keep on going to the mosque when Thor comes down and oh shit, Thor's real? Does that mean the Norse pantheon's real? How do I reconcile that belief system in this world where it exists?
What is your feelings on the story of creation when you currently do have a giant living in the ocean that almost birthed from your planet, and now it's confirmed your planet is created by celestial beings, not your god. Fantastic kernels that we can all agree is fit.
See, this is your second pitch, Isaac. That's why I kind of wish DC would try to go after in Kingdom Come. If you guys remember that storyline from the late 90s, that dealt with that exact notion, like how do you maintain your faith in the world where titans and gods walk among you?
I think honestly, from what I've seen, as far as like faith like that is concerned, you just kind of adjust immediately. So you see like, the other gods, or you see the giant celestial coming out of the ocean, and be like, well, that's all part of God's plan.
Yes. And as a former Christian, that's exactly what you do. Oh, these things are still under God. I mean,
under God, exactly.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah, you can have like a
would say
really emotional scene where she's like having a crisis of faith and she's, crying in the mosque, and like, her mother's like, her father's like super angry that she has like a Thor hammer. It's like, how dare you bring that false prophet? And then, the nice, wise, what's the Muslim religious leader called? Is it an imam?
Muhammad?
Yeah, no. What's like the Islamic equivalent of like a priest or rabbi?
Oh, unknown for me.
Yeah, let's see.
But
Imam, that's
I
right.
say
That's
real
right.
quick, I want to say that I think we've all been talking about how we don't want to have stories based on people's like race when it comes to escapist fiction. Like when you do this, instead you would have her blasted to another planet, which has a similar setup that she can sympathize with, and then allows like for everyone to maybe start seeing like how much of it's a human issue that can happen
Mm.
to anyone of like
Right.
whatever race or religion.
I think-
Like
yeah.
we want to get away from making someone their race or religion.
Yeah. Their race, their gender, you name it,
Mhm.
as opposed to just kind of like, it sounds corny, but the human race, like, I
Mhm.
think it's great that they're trying. I think it's
Yes.
really great that they're trying. It truly has been led and starred by white men for way too long. You see it over and over again. This, and it's hard. We're having some growing pains right now. And I know I'm being kind of generalistic at the moment, but it needs to be done. We just need to figure out how to do it, how
Agreed,
to do it
like-
properly, and so people don't feel like they're being patronized too.
And be okay
Uh,
with us pointing out when it's done. We do
Yeah.
need to recognize when it's done bad and when it's done good. Because like every
Right.
time it's done,
Yes.
people are acting like it's a good thing. No,
Right.
once again, what you did to Finn, not a good thing.
Terrible.
Just divide the two. But we can't have those discussions because the social media is terrible.
I think that the answer is like what should have been one of the critical mistakes of the MCU was like making these like TV shows that were like a horrible mix of like not really great TV and not really great movies. These like kind of TV specials that were like far too expensive. TV should be cheap. The production value should be getting these big name stars to interact. They should be like 10 episodes. And it should be much more lower key versus like, getting a 2-hour shit mid movie stretched into 6 hours.
Yeah, I think that's us being able to do, what is it, Sunday morning quarterbacking? Which one's the one where it's after the game?
Monday morning kind of
Yeah.
quarterback. or-
Yeah, we're doing that because like
quarterback,
I guess like a lot of things that like I see happening are like with what Kathleen Kennedy did. I would have backed every single one of those decisions at the start, and I did because I was like, yeah, get rid of the EU. I want to start fresh. Female leads, fantastic. Let's just do like all these calls she made, including Ryan Johnson, who was my favorite director at the time. I was like, man, all these great calls. And then for the unfortunate things that we're in now, like the pandemic happened, no one could go in the theater. They thought that like there's everything on the table said it's a money cash cow to focus onto their streaming platform, but then you end up with like the wrong creators, not enough time to write, and like maybe this wasn't the right project, and now we have like a mess. And also, I guess there's all that background stuff of like checks and balances have been removed, so they don't have as much quality assurance as they once had.
Oh, so you want the Marvel Creative Committee to come back?
I've heard about them, and I'm not saying that they're completely.
They're all
bad.
listening,
I
just
don't
so you
know.
know.
It's so interesting how like now the Chudiverse is like singing the praises of the Marvel Creative Committee and not Bob Iger, Ike Perlmutter, which I don't think he was like the magic saint who made the MCU good. Like I just remember hearing like all the problems he had in Age of Ultron, which I still think is like the worst Avengers movie. And not to mention the fact that you just get another black guy for Rhodey, nobody will know the difference. I don't think Ike Perlmutter is this wunderkind. Like
Absolutely agreed.
I
think
need
we're
the
underestimating Kevin Feige. I think like Kevin Feige is still. I do still think until I'm proven wrong. I still do think Kevin Feige is like the mastermind that made everything great. It's just that like up around him was arisen this new culture that took over from what we were once enjoying. So like all these creators that were once like the Russo brothers and even Joss Whedon and just the right people at the right time have like stepped down, and now there's like this new crop of writers that want to do things like She-Hulk, and I don't think he has the power to say no, but I
Yeah,
think that
I felt like a
Yeah.
lot of his decisions were like built on white liberal guilt, which is like not the best way to tell stories. I think like when you're bringing in a new creator, you should like I think Matt Owens is. I'm going to be singing his praises for a long time to come. The showrunner of One Piece. Like I feel like a person needs to like pass the Matt Owens test of someone who maybe has a few gigs, but also like has a deep investment into the source material. But it's hard to say. Like I feel like we don't have a full because like I hear that like Marvel movies are made on such an assembly line that the directors don't really have much creative input. Supposedly that like all the fight scenes are already mapped out, and all they're asked to do is just turn on the camera and like give direction to the actors. So it's hard to say if like is Nia DaCosta to blame for the Marvels because she hasn't really done anything with visual effects that much. Did Chloe Zhao have much influence on the visual effects of the Eternals?
Clearly.
Oh yes, she completely owns Crow, the most iconic villain.
I'm just saying that Eternals did have a united artistic design to it that did create a genuine feel that I was in a constructed world. I felt versus the mishmash that we've been seeing elsewhere in the Marvel universe.
Eternals still surprised me because did you guys ever see the movie that she did before Eternals?
I haven't.
Nomadland. I heard it was good though.
How do you go from a movie about somebody crapping in a bucket in a van and living in a van to making an MCU movie with such a large scope? That blew my mind.
That is
I mean, I kind of feel.
You first.
No. I actually was gonna say something. I was like, no, I'm pulling back because we're live. I don't want to say it.
Now I really want to see it.
I'll tell you later. It'll be in the show notes. I don't know.
Here. What I feel like I've been.
Don't get me wrong. Nomadland was a great movie, but that was just like, wow, she's going from a movie about people crapping in buckets to a massive MCU movie. All right, that's a step up.
I feel like I've been seeing is like they are choosing directors based on like if they like actors and directors based on if they like him or not, or if they have the right racial demographic. So it seems like she has a great talent for directing, clearly through the Eternals. But like
I thought they went with the hot hand. It's like how they got Ke Huy Quan to play OB in Loki. I mean, right now Disney's all about is like, oh, he's the Oscar winner. Let's bring him in because Loki was the second project that Ke Huy Quan's done since he won the Oscar.
Yeah,
probably gonna see more. And I love Ke Huy Quan, but it's kind of the same thing. They go with the hot hand and go with the big critical darling at the
real quick. I gotta say I was gonna say finish with the picking people that they like and they have like the right racial demographic to line up with something. So like Eternals did have an Asian female lead, so they choose the most talented Asian female director they can find. Then the new Captain America, New World Order, has a black male lead. So they find the most recent working, it seems. I'm so sorry to insult the director of New World, but have you guys seen his Cloverfield movie on Netflix? It was awful. It was
really bad.
He's the one who did the Cloverfield Paradox?
Yes. That was
God.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yes. But he is also a black man. So bam. So instead of like them chasing down people who are best at the genre, because like for a Captain America movie, you want someone who's really good at G.I. Joe movies. You don't need just someone who's black, which I wish that was, you could do the same. You could do that with like, someone else. But yeah, that's what
I know. Let's get the guys behind Halo and have them do the Captain America movie. There we go.
The Halo TV show? No! God, no. But I bet the people behind that who made that had a lot of friends that liked it. So, yeah, that's the biggest problem in running. Like, as I'm getting back into books and comic books and whatnot, I'm remembering that the fun of it was finding artists and writers and following them and then enjoying the story. But ever since like Disney Star Wars, it's become like the brand itself. Like, who cares who's writing or directing it? I'm
Yes.
here just to give money to this property.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
I guess the
definitely
problem with that
butterflies
is
at this point.
that the brand has been eroding. So
Yes.
now you can't get that instant ticket buy with just by having Star Wars or the Marvel. It really the most desperate thing was like, hey, you love Pedro Pascal. He's going to be Mr. Fantastic. Oh, you like that?
That sounds you're right. That sounds very desperate. But listen, like the Avengers, this whole thing has been going on for so long, since what, 2008 now? They have
15
had,
Yep.
a historic run. They've had an excellent run. And now it's starting to fall apart a little bit because that's how these things go. Usually something cannot maintain that level of quality for that long. It's just, from what I've seen, it's just not how things work. There's going to be ups and downs. You just can't keep
Which
it
is part of
up.
the fun again.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing. You think back to 15 years ago when Iron Man first came out. It's like, could you have imagined when that came out that 15 years later there'd be 23 movies and still building off that one movie? That's just
Kind of. I just wanted to take a quick moment to brag about 90s Keith, who had a conversation and everybody rolled their eyes at me and scoffed and laughed when I said, well, I think Marvel has the best opportunity to make a Marvel movie universe because they have all genres within them. And people were just like, yeah, bigger than Batman, Keith? Sure. But yeah, I did call it. And that's also the bragging about doing.
That's an interesting win. That like the DC people were like, Batman will always remain supreme.
Yeah, and it comes down once again to genre, not the property. Because like I guess now it's like that. Because I guess like the Batman when Batman was the biggest, it was still just Batman. But like when you have Captain America at its biggest, it's not like, woo, I'm going to see a Captain America movie. You're going there to see pretty much Call of Duty Super, and a lot of people love that. So then it blew up. And Guardians of the Galaxy is legitimate space opera, and people will see that. Now, Marvel's is you're going to see Brie Larson and Iman Vellani and the girl who is also in.
So, MJ, what did you think of the Marvels? I'm still annoyed that you two didn't see it. You mofo's better watch it on Disney Plus when it comes on to me.
The Marvels. I enjoyed it. I do not think it deserves to be flogged in the court of box office and public opinion like it has been since it came out. Because, I mean, this and Blue Beetle, another movie that kind of suffered the same fate. Those two movies were great contained movies. Were they perfect? No, because I mean, Blue Beetle was kind of like Miss Marvel the movie, kind of the same template. The Marvels, it was fun. It was big, stupid fun, and you could tell that the people on screen were having fun. I really wish I'd spent a little more time baking because it was horribly edited. And you could kind of feel how cobbled together it was. And some of it was just like, oh, wait, need major event to set up other things later. And you could just see the seams where they had it taped and glued together. And it was just painful. But there were a couple times where I was covering my mouth laughing because I was like, oh, my God, why am I laughing at this? This is hilarious. Like the Florkin escape plan off the satellite back to Earth. I was dying laughing. And I felt guilty for laughing because it was so stupid. But I loved it anyway.
All right.
And it was
sounds like the kind of good carefree that I enjoy because like I am actually prepared for potentially liking it because I sometimes like if it seems like the this movie is now like no one cares about it, and when people stop caring about things, it seems like creativity gets loosened up more so that you can just like have more fun. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for the Marvels, even though no one wants this. Like no one's sitting around saying, man, I just need a fantasy of these three heroes in a story about beating a hammer chick. It's not like
the most annoying thing to me about the Marvels is trying to figure out what the hell was up with Secret Invasion then, because I mean, logically, Secret Invasion should have dovetailed into the Marvels, but it doesn't feel like anything in Secret Invasion happened at all.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
It's just
I have no
ridiculous.
doubt about that. Like they're paying attention to each other. I think that's what's happening. It's getting back closer to what the world once was, where people just were trying to get through the day of completing their projects and not talking to each other enough. And that, I think we're just back there again.
I wouldn't be surprised because so many people. What's one of the big complaints about the MCU is that you need to do all this homework to watch anything in it. So I would not be surprised if we start moving.
I have.
And they also aren't. They're no longer making products on stuff people are excited about. So like,
Well, they're running out.
Like Iron Man got to continue because that first movie was like holy shit, and everybody loved him. And now we're getting, Ms. Marvel and the movie. Like it started off with people not really that excited, and therefore a movie. Well, now I'm less excited. Like you got to go in the direction of creativity that's been working, and that's what I think they're still trying to find. And they finally did get a win with Loki season 2, and suddenly that guy is. Which guy is now doing like
Michael Waldron? He's one who's been tagged to do the next 2 Avengers movies.
Okay, so do we know if he's bringing this Eric Martin guy with him? Which seems like he's the guy who.
I really hope they do. In fact, watching Loki season 2, I'm kind of interested in seeing the show Heels, which I don't know if you guys have ever heard of, is a family drama based around pro wrestling. It has
Hell yeah, I'd watch that.
Wrong heels.
Y'all can see Keith's screen right now. He just looks up heels. What do you think you're gonna get?
I thought like
all right,
we would advertise the show the most over other heels.
Heels Stephen Amell. Look up Heels Stephen Amell because it stars Stephen Amell, who was Arrow from the Arrowverse, and then Alexander Ludwig from the show Vikings, and it's 2 seasons of family drama based around pro wrestling.
Dude, I'd watch the hell out of this.
Yeah, this is
what it was created by Michael Waldron, and Eric Martin's one of the main writers for the series.
All right, yeah.
Really quick though.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Keith.
But anyway, come back to the point that I want to make. The fact that none of us are really invested anymore. It's again, this is the point I've made in previous podcasts. Is just because, and I hate to side with Bob Iger on a statement he made about a couple months ago, but the deluge of content we had to wade through in just the last 2 years, because Phase 4 told up to be 58 hours of content, whereas the first 3 phases over the first 11 years of the MCU was 49 hours. So they asked a lot of viewers the last 2 years. Just consume.
All the TV shows. I didn't even think of that. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Also, really quick, going back to one of the things that you said, Keith, you have to kind of push on the things that are working and what you think people will like and everything. I would say to that, I would go back to actually 90s Keith. And 90s Keith knew that like the Marvel Cinematic Universe could potentially happen. And a lot of people were saying, nah, I'm not interested in that. I don't care about that. But they did it and they made it work. And personally, I knew about Iron Man. I thought Iron Man was pretty cool, but he wasn't one of my favorites. I didn't care all that much about him.
He's D-list to me.
It was absolutely. Well, then that movie came out and it turned into something. And so when they make these things, they're hoping it turns into something.
Well, that's one of the funny things, because I mean, the 90s Marvel Comics dominated the 90s over DC, I would even argue.
Yeah.
But could you guys name the first successful Marvel movie before Blade in 1998? Can you name one?
Successful?
Exactly. There was the Punisher movie with
I got it.
But there was like no Marvel movies before then. I mean,
the Conan movies.
I mean, because DC had been killing it ever since the first Superman in 1978, and they pretty much dominated the movie theaters until Blade finally came around and Marvel got a foothold finally.
Oh, here. Okay, so I think this is like what happened, because I've been trying to figure out.
Before you go into what happens, can I give my take on the Marvels, since I'm so.
Oh sure, yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, you saw
I gotta finish. That we're on right now.
You want to finish your current topic before I go into the Marvels?
Yes, please.
Also, I did say a successful Marvel movie. I don't know if anybody heard me.
No, which one?
Conan the Barbarian, technically Marvel.
Doesn't he exist before Marvel? Wasn't he a pulp character?
Yeah, he was a pulp character.
Well, was he owned by
but Marvel owned him. Marvel owned him when they were releasing those movies. So if you want to be a pedant, you could say that.
But real quick, I want to say
Yeah,
like
you father.
the success. Hold on a second. I gotta say, finish the thought, which was success was that once upon a time they thought a superhero movie was a superhero movie. You make a Superman superhero movie, you make a Batman superhero movie, but then you move on to now you can using Marvel, you just have a brand and you can pivot to whatever genre is the hottest at the time, and that's what I think is the winning formula that they have forgotten, which is what's the genre people are dying for, then slap that and make that out of Marvel. Now we've descended into now we're just watching Captain Marvel, we're just watching the heroes, and people are checking out because not everybody wants just superhero. There you go.
It's the Spandex Power Hour.
Isaac.
All right, so in some ways, I kind of agree with you. I enjoyed the Marvels more than I thought, but also still kind of hated it profusely. I can understand why people would defend it, because within it, you can kind of see like a more successful movie struggling to get out. But it's got a lot of different tones that it doesn't really quite commit to. I think it's most successful when it's like just a hangout movie with like the three people. You know, like I like the scene where they're like trying to figure out how to use their training and using the phase powers, and they're just kind of like hanging around. So I think it was like a more consistently like a lower budget, lower key movie. That's the identity it wanted to be, but it tries to do a lot of things and fails a lot of them. One of the key ones is like the idea that like Miss Marvel gets to see Captain Marvel in the wild, and she sees that like, you know, there's this scene where they're on the Skrull planet or the Skrull refugee planet, and Captain Marvel's like, you can't save everyone, but no, there's more people there, and then they watch some Skrulls get like hit by rocks, and you think that like, you know, ooh, this is interesting. What's going to happen? Is she going to, you know, lose the luster of her hero? Is she going to confront her hero? Is she going to learn the sort of cold, hard reality that Invincible learned when he had his first day on the job of what happens when you screw up or that you can't save everyone, and they land into bloody chunks? No, it's just kind of brushed past. It's never really addressed. Not to mention like a big example of like the Hangout movie kind of vibe trying to succeed is the singing number, the infamous singing number, because you could see the idea behind it, like, you know, they're learning about each other, they're hanging out, and the idea, and there's a germ of a really good idea. Like Captain Marvel's a military woman; she's so serious and tough and what. But then we learn that she actually has this secret side, and she goes to this singing planet, and she's a princess, and she's wears a Princess Marvel uniform, and she has to do all these dainty Disney princess things, and but like, the scene only lasts for like 5 minutes, and then it ends, and then you learn that like the prince of the singing planet doesn't even have to sing to talk with them, and you're like, oh wow, that was completely pointless. You should have just gone all the way and had a whole singing thing where everyone kind of like makes fun of her. Ooh, Princess Captain Marvel. Ooh, dainty princess. Which
that was the extent of it. They got the teaser.
Yeah, they didn't even really get to teaser. They just had the scene, and then it breaks out into like an MCU action sequence when you know, Hammer Chick comes in there with a fleet and tries to steal the ocean.
I'd like to complain really quickly about how much I hate Hammer Chick's costume. It's awful. It offends me. It looks like she's wearing a costume made for a person 3 times her size, and they're like, no one will notice. Just put it on. And here's the hammer the person 3 times your size was also wielding.
It was the same tailor as Admiral Thrawn's outfit in Ahsoka.
Yeah, all their costumes were like kind of looked terrible. They all look like ill-fitting. They all kind of felt like cosplay costumes. I don't know how you spend $170 million, and the superhero uniforms kind of looked so meh.
170 million. You thought it was that cheap?
Or 270 million.
Yeah, there you go.
Goodness. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, and like they couldn't afford to make a hammer that, you know, fits her size that maybe she could actually wield. It's just held so awkwardly, like like a kid pretending, and they're using
Well,
their
I
father's
don't know
cosplay weapon.
whose idea was like, hey, let's have this new person who's just a woman and not even a cool space alien, and let's have her imitate this other, the lower, C or D tier of Marvel villains, Ronan the Accuser, because I guess that's the closest thing we have to Captain Marvel iconography.
This
Yeah,
is
and I
Captain
also-
Marvel. This is Tom Hiddleston's wife, though.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
which is
I think
wild.
I was gonna say, once again, they're going to hiring people they like. Like, instead of like, for this role of a galactic villain, woman or man, what actor should we scour the planet to find to build this up? Or, hey, you know who we really like though, who we should get some work to, and we get this strange Darbin who looks like Emilia Clarke.
Oh, also, I freaking hate the switching powers because the rules were so inconsistent. It never really established like when they switch. They just kind of do it randomly, which I thought was really freaking lazy.
They painted themselves into a corner with that one.
Wait.
That
It's
didn't
not- there's no
annoy me.
dog on that? Like, I thought it was like you use your power and then you switch.
It's only when
Sometimes
all
they
three
do.
of them. It's when all three of them use their power simultaneously. At least that was the original ground rule they set at the front, and then they started getting consistent with that, and la 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 la. And, yeah,
Okay.
it was just like when they had Kamala Khan being able to use her powers when she didn't have the bangle on at one point towards the end of the movie. I'm like, wait, so she doesn't need the bangle now? Is she like full bore mutant? Miss Marvel now?
What is also the point of the bangle? The bangle's like part of this Nord dimension of like the Pakistani MCU, but now it's actually a part of this thing that this alien finds on a planet for some reason. Like, I thought it was going to be like. I thought it was going to be like tied into like the Shang-Chi bracelets, maybe, but I don't know. It just feels like
He probably
the
still
creatives
is.
the creatives are not really talking to each other much.
That's a big
Oh,
problem.
just wait. You're going to find out that the bangles and the 10 rings from Shang-Chi are actually coming from the planet that they're going to hold the secret wars on, and that's how it's all going to tie together.
Yeah, Risk World.
That's not too. It's not a bad idea. I think.
Well,
That's
at some
just
point,
they
if they ever get back to Shang-Chi, yeah.
like, is there a powerful MacGuffin this phase that could do that? Because
No.
Bengals crack the universe at the end of this movie.
Well, because they still have to have some cosmic power that can tie it back and eventually draw the Eternals back in, because they're scattered to the four winds now at the end of their own movie. And
Poor guys.
Yeah, what a shame.
yeah, but another real quick point I wanted to make about Marvels that annoyed the piss out of me is how they basically relegated Monica Rambeau to just spewing exposition.
Oh
They
no.
would get from scene to scene, and she'd just be vomiting exposition, like
Vomiting.
and text speak that it's like that you wouldn't know would be pertinent to anything. She was just told to read it off the teleprompter and just vomit it out on the screen. Like, come on, don't do that to her character. That's just.
I also hated that her main driving force was like, I'm angry at Miss Marvel because she promised she would come back, but she didn't come back. It's like, is this really what you're going for?
Man,
As,
you're
like,
35. I think you should be able to get over this kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you move beyond it.
That was one of the main
real quick.
contentions is that she the Carol didn't come back to Earth because she was too busy trying to help the Skrulls find a home planet, and she didn't want she didn't want the little girl that worshipped her so much to see what she'd become after years of having to actually do things that she regretted in space and la 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 la. Okay, sure. All right.
And can I also say the Skrulls are one of the worst elements in the MCU right now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're not being very thoughtful with it. They're just kind of bombing it wherever they need it.
Well, it's like the Skrulls were like, "Ooh, here are these evil alien Green Goblin men that can transform into people. Ooh, this is fun and neat." But
In the
they
comics,
wanted,
yes.
yeah, and then the comics, but then they tried to make them into refugees, and we can't find the Skrulls planet. It's so hard to get them a planet. Oh, wowee, wubsy.
And that's what I thought was funny is that.
Please help the skulls, please.
And that's what I thought was funny when Valkyrie shows up to Bifrost, that little gaggle of Skrull survivors back to Earth. And you're taking them to the one planet that has declared war against all the Skrulls. That's brilliant. That is if Secret Invasion actually still happened. But
Maybe it was an Elseworld story. It feels so disconnected.
Well, at this
until,
point, it's about
you
the
know,
excuse they have.
So hold on a second. Do we really have this little to talk about Loki season 2? Because I thought it was really good, and like I think we spent we almost got.
Yeah,
to
let's go back to Loki.
Okay, go back to positive points. I just think the train wreck is fun to talk about. But Loki
Yeah.
was like probably the most successful thing in Phase 5 so far, and maybe even like one of the best things of Phase 4. Here's a hard question for you, Keith. What do you like better, Loki or the Eternals?
Ooh.
I'll say I think that highly of the Eternals. Aside from them being toyetic, that I'll go with Loki season 2. That the writing was so damn solid that it made me remember like what I used to love about Doctor Who. Like they really got that down, and like timey-wimey, crisscrossing stuff like that is like top of the list of things to mess up and get confused in. And like hats off to them. I felt their world, and like a good sign of world building to me is like when you can kind of it sets an idea in your brain where you can start seeing the other adventures that are happening in the background, and like you yourself could just be a part of the TVA, and whatever sidearm you want is your dagger, and you go across time chasing versions of evil Captain Americas. Like they really got it in season 2 versus like season 1 was, to me, the TVA just felt so much like disposable background that they couldn't wait to
Get rid of.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also like how they really pivoted away from the stuff they did in season 1 to kind of make you think like, oh, well, we're doing a power reset right now. Because look at the Power Stones; they're pointless and dumb.
Mhm.
You know, they're paperweights, but they really didn't bother with that in the second season. They just kind of went with their own stuff. And also some things we were bringing up earlier is that the first season, actually, in a lot of ways, I'm thinking back on it now, it really was more disconnected, because I remember thinking like when I first watched it, like, oh wow, you know, these like Loki variants were in so many episodes, and you know, Sylvie's everywhere. And then looking back, like each of them kind of only, besides Sylvie, like had kind of one episode. You know, it was like really kind of quick. They were in, they were out. But, and sorry not to jump around too much, but they really did sort of like focus way more on Loki in the second season. And also I thought a really good move is they didn't pursue that whole romantic connection between Sylvie and Loki.
Yeah,
I very much enjoyed that Sylvie got to become like her own character with her own desire of just wanting to be. And yeah, I enjoyed him having that kind of an aspect of someone that wants to be beyond like all this battle stuff and all these timey-wimey things, just to work at McDonald's and maybe listen to some 90s records.
Yeah.
I really appreciate, like, yeah, once again, like, now we're not putting importance on over characters or trying to worship. We're just having characters interact, and that's all I wanted in my stories. I want to go around the table. What did you like and what did you not like about we'll go the entire both seasons, like, together.
Ooh.
What you like most and dislike most? You go first, MJ.
The things that I really liked, something I kind of forgot about from season 1 until I rewatched it. I kind of like the Wes Anderson vibes that kind of creeped in with some of the visuals of it. Because the TVA had that whole soft glow, late 70s, 80s warmth to it that Anderson likes to bring into a lot of his movies. So I did kind of appreciate that. And I had another thought about what I really liked, and I totally blanked on it.
All right. We can come back.
Yeah, I'll come back to it. Yeah, I'll come back.
What didn't you like?
Well, like I said before, how inconsistent season 1 was, because season 1 you're kind of feeling like, okay, we're getting into the whole over-reliance on CGI. Look at all the fun, gooey landscapes that we can have these people go through, and oh, look, and Loki's getting kicked in the balls repeatedly by Sif until he has his epiphany. Oh, joy. And there are more cathartic ways for a character to go through the arc that Loki went through in season 1 than the way they approached it. In season 2, they seem to understand that and actually took that route, which I appreciated more.
All right. Matthew Schrader. What do you like and dislike?
Gotcha. I think one of the things I kind of going back to one of the things we were talking about earlier, as far as like a like is concerned, is the fact that you could go in and watch these after probably only seeing Thor. You know, you kind of get an idea who Loki is. Avengers helps. But
I feel like you don't have to be steeped in MCU knowledge to watch and enjoy Loki. And I think that's a real good step in the right direction. So yeah, nice simple thing that I like. God, what didn't I like? I'm sure there was something.
So you're encouraging the MCU to time slip more, is what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying. Now hold on. Whoa. Remember, the committee's listening. Be careful.
Do not. I repeat, do not.
What about Victor Timely? I haven't heard anyone talk about him yet.
I was just about to say, we haven't really talked about Jonathan Majors at all.
Yeah.
I really liked him in season 2. I appreciated his performance in the finale of season 1 more after I'd seen all this. And after I actually stayed awake and watched all of Quantum Mania, I appreciated it even more.
Mm-hmm. Listen, guy's a hell of an actor.
Indeed. I like him. I like him enough, I'll say. I'm not blown away by him. I'm not like, whoa, this guy's the next huge thing. I think he's fine enough.
You still need to see Creed 3, don't you?
I still need to see that.
go.
But in the MCU, I still haven't seen them write him very great. Like, he's always taking falls. He's always getting beat down. He's always at the end of being lost. So it's kind of like they're not building up as a true threat like they did with Thanos. So, yeah, but the Victor Timely thing, I really enjoyed seeing what I felt was genuine creation from the actor. Like, the people involved with trying to create Victor Timely had fun and really created like a fleshed out character that you can pretty much remember and have fun with. So I did.
I'm surprised you guys like Victor Timely. To me, it felt like so much Jamie Foxx energy from Amazing Spider-Man.
No, I see what you're saying. Like him being humble and stuttering and
I'm a stuttering nerd. Well, I think we should. I thought you would have hated that, Keith.
I think I enjoyed it more because you could see more of Jonathan Majors likely wanting to do this and all of like the creativity put into his costume and hair. Creative character, like I said, like you can have a humble, goofy black character is okay. It's just that like when you do it from certain angles or certain intentions, and it doesn't seem like the black voice is too involved in saying how this person will end up looking. That's usually the problem. But this I saw as like a fun, like I saw him having fun creating Victor Timely.
Oh, he was absolutely.
That I can't really say it's an analog to Jamie Foxx in Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I mean Fox's character going to Electro in Spider-Man 2, he's the geeky, stumbly, horribly insecure guy, and he gets zapped with electricity, and all of a sudden I'm World Beater, I'm gonna make them all pay, I'm amazingly evil. Like, okay, you're kind of ignoring his fundamental character elements from before he was turned. The electricity didn't fry his brain entirely. He was still supposed to be him.
And his look in that movie,
that was
critique of they're always scared, they're always sweating. I'm like, yeah, he's one sweaty, scary dude. I'm like, yeah, that's not as fun. Whereas Timely, while humble, he was not a coward, and
and the guy was hustling the entire time too. So he's not stupid at any level.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're closing in on the last 30 minutes we got. Is there anything we should focus on, or any closing statements, or things we didn't touch on that we should?
I think.
I didn't get to do my positive and negative.
Oh no! Oh my gosh, you got it in.
And neither did I. Isaac, go.
Oh my god!
All right, so my positive and negative is first season. I think I was excited for the Doctor Who quirky show of Loki and Owen Wilson solving time crimes. I was not happy when the Sylvie Power Hour took place, and then the idea that the TVA was evil, which to me destroyed the time crime fantasy of it. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. I did enjoy the Loki variants. I thought that was fun. I wasn't a huge fan of season 1 overall because it felt like it was supposed to be this big pivotal moment where Sylvie kills He Who Remains. That brings the multiverse, but it never was reflected in any of the other movies or TV shows. Like Doctor Strange doesn't say, I sense blah, blah, blah in the time continuum. So that was never paid off with Yeah, the second season's a little bit more consistent since it proved to be what the first season wanted to be, but it also had the misfortune of dealing with the fallout of the first season of doing time crime solving while also work operating when the TVA was imploding. And all time was being destroyed. I think the finale of Loki going through centuries to try and solve this unsolvable problem, though, was probably the strongest episode and justified it. And I loved him going throughout the episode and him going to he who Jonathan Majors and basically being like, see, this is what I had to solve. You think I was the bad guy, but this is what happens. And I enjoyed all of that. But you've heard my misgivings. I have questions about how Loki knew this would happen. But it is a fulfilling end to his arc. So it's definitely the strongest things at the MCU. But I think a fundamental problem is all of Loki's greater resolution is based on your investment in the multiverse saga. And the multiverse saga has been a weird spiraling mess. So due to that, I think a lot of people aren't as involved or super invested in the Loki finale as they should have been. And it should have been a bigger cultural event.
All right. Then should I just say my like and dislike?
Go for it.
Yeah.
All right. What I liked was
I also one last thing. I hated Miss Minutes and Renslayer as like heel turn villains and thought they were miserable villains.
I think they were definitely wasted. I thought they had potential, but were wasted. Yeah, I agree. So I'll start with what I liked, which is like what I think everybody else is saying. Like by season 2, we got that world building of like being time cops, which is kind of like what it felt like we were going to be getting with like kind of you got like your brown suit and dagger and your time phone that I want so bad. I want that to be my smartphone.
Oh, you want something?
Yes, God, I love those things so much. Every time you bust that out, it's like the designs are perfect. So yeah, like it's only all sorry, what that?
You want the 8-bit monochrome display?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind going back and forth from HD and 8-bit, but yeah, like they got down, they got what we were supposed to get in the beginning, and yeah, what I didn't like was just like the sidelining of Tom Hiddleston and Loki, and then like kind of like this like kind of a dismissal of the MCU in universe. So like it seemed very dismissive. So like you get into like the first season and you make fun of the Infinity Stones. Loki can get over being a mass murderer for eons in like a half hour, and just like geez, this is falling apart for me. And then it's all about like how much Sylvie is a great person. Like, okay, what are we doing here? And then season 2 was great because I finally felt like they heard like this is like a direct show of like listening to critiques and leaning into fixes, which is like one of the first time I've seen this happen in entertainment for a long time now. So yeah, that would be my likes and dislikes. There's solid finally in world building and finale, but I almost kind of maybe enjoy, I'll say, on a meta level, shows that start bad and then can do like a heel turn and suddenly like convince me that they're great, like what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was able to pull off. So yeah, those are my takes. I guess like we should go around we're at the end of this, and I was thinking like going around the table about just everybody's general overall feelings of where the MCU is now and where it needs to be. Or do you guys have anything else that we should close up on?
Doc Falconer, you do your likes, dislikes?
Yeah, I got him in. I just didn't have much in the way of dislikes.
Okay,
well, thank you for that. Yeah. No, I think my like was the fact that you can watch this without a lot of homework.
Okay.
Yeah, and but yeah, I think we could probably end with that, right? Like, so what is it? Where we think the MCU should go? Where we think it is right now, etc.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll let you lead off, Doc Falconer.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Since you got the floor.
Where is it? Where should it go?
Yeah, we're right now. They are trying to figure that out. I was looking at some timelines of where, like, what Phase 4 was supposed to be, what Phase 5 is supposed to be, and everything has changed.
and they keep pushing things back mostly and changing things and whatnot. I think they're trying to figure it out right now. They're in a bit of a state of flux, and so I'm really curious to see where it goes. But right now, it's a mess, and I think they're probably losing a lot of viewers right now. I think Loki season 2 is a step in the right direction, but I think that what they really need to do is they need to focus on their stories and focus on their characters and their relationships, like any good story. And they need to find a big bad that people care about. Who was it earlier was saying that Kang doesn't seem like that much of a threat because he keeps getting beat.
Yep.
Like he doesn't come across as a big threat. Like Thanos, you wanted to see him go down because he was so big and scary and unbeatable. You need somebody like that, whoever it is, and you need to kind of sympathize with him a little bit too. That's what makes a great villain. So anyway, yeah, I think that's what they need. They need to focus on stories. They need to focus on characters, relationships, threats.
Gotcha. All right, Isaac.
I think it's amazing. I think that the most successful $30 billion unprecedented MCU destroying Lord of the Rings crushing cinematic dynasty is now teetering on the brink of collapse.
Again. Well, I guess
Again. Again.
collapsing.
But I think there are lessons you can learn from Spider-Man No Way Home. That even like broken things can be brought back and redeemed. A la what would they manage to do with Andrew Garfield and Jamie Foxx, kind of like redeeming many a character that people didn't like from those iterations. So it's possible to make people possibly like the Eternals. One big thing they need to do is we can't have these 3-year breaks between characters appearing. You can't have Shang-Chi appear and then go to fuck off this stand. If you're going to commit to these characters, then commit to having them appear. Having them appear again. I also think you need to spend a little more time cooking your stories up. And you need a better roster of creatives. Find the guys and gals who really enjoy this stuff. Who have a few writing credits, and build some sort of mentor system where they can work on lower risk, lower budget projects before getting to the big leagues, before you let them become the Joss Whedons and the James Gunns. You need to build up that mentor system. I think any future talent needs to pass the Matt Owen test if you're gonna keep on pushing the equity and diversity thing, which aren't inherently bad. What is that?
What's the test?
My version of the Matt Owen test is that they need to be they need to enjoy genre stuff. They need to be fully immersed and at least have some sort of knowledge of whatever they're working on. And you can't keep on getting people who are just going in for the paycheck. As I'm sure you've heard of the Taika Waititi, like further burying the Marvel grave. Oh yeah, I was super poor. I didn't give a shit about Thor.
I really feel like actors and like him, they're trying to destroy the MCU because I don't think creators like this landscape at all. Like they don't want to
hate it. Like now, the coolest thing in his interviews is like saying like, "Oh yeah, they asked me to come in for a Marvel thing," and I was like, "Nah, I don't want to do it."
Yeah, I've seen some of those.
I think that's like people are sick and tired of they worked all their lives to create art only to be able to create other people's art, and that's why I think that I even think that a little bit was maybe what Rian Johnson was doing with Last Jedi. I still need to research that more, but like there's like a sentiment like every time someone says like that they might not come back to the MCU, they do not seem to be worried about it whatsoever. They're like, that's totally cool with me because like I think they want to go out their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Should MJ where we are and where should it go?
Well, they're already doing the first thing that I knew they had to do, which was to slow down the fire hose of content that they were putting out and actually figure out, like Doc Falconer is pointing out, just figuring themselves out and stopping the bleeding. I mean, at some point they're going to have to find another James Gunn type, somebody who's so loves the material and has such a playful and cantankerous mind that can actually put something on the screen they can truly love. Because I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I mean, how many other movies that have come out from the MCU since Endgame had half the heart that that movie had?
Just Eternals I can think of.
Of course he's
Wow.
Keith.
Yeah,
No, that's just.
I thought we were talking, right? You were just talking about, what his real heart.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I'd say Eternals has a heart. I think it is ambition, but I don't know if I would say it has heart.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Isaac on that one. As much as I did end up enjoying the Eternals, it had more.
Being out of character, I will say to you guys might have a point, but I might argue on the heart. But you might be
It tried to, but it got buried under just the immensity of the story that they did in the time frame they said. That's why I have said in the past it should have been a series.
I know. But
That
anyway,
would've worked
let's
better,
not get
yeah.
on that. Let's not get on that.
Yeah. So, I mean, the only project that's coming up from the MCU that I'm actually interested in seeing is Deadpool 3, and that's mainly because I'm a fan of the first two Deadpool movies, and I want to see, the craziness that they're going to pull out of their hat next, especially since they convinced Hugh Jackman to come out of retirement and play Wolverine again.
Yeah.
I mean, and some of the on set picks that came out before the strike, I'm like, oh, this is going to be so stupid. It's going to be awesome.
I have a great feeling about it.
I'm pretty excited.
But then you got Thunderbolts coming out, and I don't care. Then you got Agatha, the Darkhold Diaries. I don't care. And it's just all these other projects that they have potentially coming out, and I'm not that excited about it because nothing that's been set up in Phase 4 and Phase 5 yet makes me want to care. So that's the other thing they have to figure out is how they can up the quality potentially going into those to kind of get the consumer faith back. And it's probably Deadpool 3 is going to kill. We all know Deadpool 3 is going to kill just because of the first two movies, but the real litmus test is going to be the Captain America movie. Because if that movie sinks, I don't see the MCU recovering past that.
Seems like they're going to be reshooting all of it because the director, like, what were they thinking? Did they see the movie he made? Why would you do that? All right, can I finish up with my where we should go?
Yep.
All right, where we are is I don't want to say it, but they went all in on MCU. Like, they went so hard this last phase to replace all characters with female characters instead of just introducing good female characters. Like, you don't have to replace the guys. You can just create new female good characters and then have people who care about this genre create stories around them. Then you can have fun and everybody because I felt like it feels like the Disney regime just went so hard on the message and the replacement that they didn't remember that this is why we were here and this is why it was fun. Actually, I'm kind of enjoying the bad movies and stuff that are coming out because bad stuff is more fun to talk about, and I gained that meta enjoyment out of it. And then also,
Says Mr. Person who didn't see the Marvels.
I want to see it, but because it's
he's afraid it's good, so he's not interested.
Yeah, if it's good bad, I'm not paying money to see that.
Oh my god!
Listen, you did not get my money for good bad.
Well, I think really, I'm sorry, Keith, to interject really quickly, to kind of go along with what you're saying, is that I like where they're coming from, that they want to diversify it, they want to get more women involved and stuff like that.
They should be doing that, but you got to do it right. If you're ham-fisted about it, you're gonna
do it organically.
Not organically,
toxic and hateful. Like the way they do it, isn't like when they stand down the male replacement, they trash the guy. Like the thing that with Star Wars, then I go back to that. Just leave the characters people love alone and make your new character. You don't have to trash the past to have people like your new stuff. You're just gonna make people just be angry, and that's
also, a trope I freaking despise in the MCU more than anything else. I hate the when the character says, "I like her." Like him.
I was gonna say that. The biggest problem with Ms. Marvel, Emily Bellani's character is she's used too much to tell the audience what to think about Captain Marvel. That is not cool. And she's
Well, not even that. There's the scene in Thor in the post-credit scene where he says, "Captain Marvel, I like her," and then there's the scene where what's the head of the Dwemer? What's her character's name in Black Panther?
Shoot.
Riri Williams.
Headed demon.
No, the one who, like, when they're recruiting Riri Williams, and she's the head of the woman guard.
Oh, Okoye. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But Okoye says, like, oh, I like her to Riri Williams.
Tell the audience what to think of the character. Like, please stop.
Here's a character you kind of.
Yeah, look right at the camera afterwards and say, "And you do too."
Slow wink. Right? And then, like, an Amazon link appears on the screen.
Scan the QR code. Scan the code.
It turns into Starship Troopers. Click here to learn more.
That actually literally happened. That literally happened in the She-Hulk TV show. But I actually looking at that. That was cute. The QR code to buy comic books. Where they need to go is stop it with, like, telling us who to like and what genders like. Go back to genre. Like, I don't want to hear anything about Captain America being black in New World. I want to hear about him beating ninjas after he gets jumped in a cafe while drinking coffee, and then he says under his breath, "Ninjas." Like, do that. There you go. Now we're having fun. Now we're having fun.
Exactly. Just do it. Don't like have some respect. They should have some respect in their audience, and just do it. And don't pat themselves in the back and be self-congratulatory about it. Just do it and tell a good story while you're doing it. And people will like that. And you're not going to get chuds like making ridiculous, I don't know.
And then also maybe put some cool designs that people would want on the screen. That is the only thing Eternals did wrong, where all their toys just look like just like wrecked people. I'm sorry. It's like, that is not toys in tight little, I don't know. Okay. Like, the director, that is your one big miss. Like, you weren't even thinking. You didn't even care about.
Well, that's more on the production design, not the director at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
the director, she oversees the production design, right?
I don't want to buy a single thing from Eternals as much as I like it. I don't want to. Like, if I like something, I always get like some memento from that journey, and like, yeah. So that's why I really want them to have a second try. Like, I want that world and feel, and please, like, toy it again a little bit, make it look cool. So,
just admit you want to see Harry Styles back. Come on.
I can't wait for Patton Oswalt dwarf.
Yeah.
Patton Oswalt, what?
Didn't Patton Oswalt voice the dwarf who introduces Harry Styles?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Oh my God, that
I think those characters are from the right hands.
all 15
they're forced upon Chloe Zhao's vision. There you go.
Although I did recently find out Harry Styles is a Packers fan.
Oh,
so I like that.
Hey, the British have taste. All right, good man.
But yeah, they need to go back to genre and finding creators that care about the genre and not about, like, what gender they want to promote. Please, for the love of God, stop doing that. Just go back to movies again. So yeah, I think are we call it? Do we have anything else we should touch upon?
I think that sounds like a good overview.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I think the bases are loaded. Let's bring it home.
Right on. Isaac, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can go check it out at Lobster Magnet Review. Go watch my video on Mr. Beast. I wish more people would check it out.
Indeed, please do. MJ, where can we find more of you on the internet?
I can see more of my incoherent ramblings on all the socials at MJ3342. That's EMJAY3342.
All right. And Matt Falconer, where can we find you on the internet and maybe in the entertainment world?
So you can find me at Doc Falconer on Instagram and Twitter. And also X, previously known as Twitter. Right. And you can also find me on lots of ums today. I apologize for that. No,
I also been doing a podcast with my friend Sarah Musek, Gene No. It is about the old 90s X-Men cartoon show, and we go through every single episode. I'm in a bunch of those episodes, so go check out Gene No.
I love that name. Gee, no.
No, with 4 O's.
I've been meaning to ask you about it. You guys going to cover the X-Men 97 series when it comes out here in the next year?
Oh,
Yes.
you better.
Yep, we absolutely are, and that was kind of what she was trying to do. She was trying to get
Nice.
all of the episodes in and finish and in the can and out before 97 came out. So she's
Very
she's
nice.
going
They
through
keep delaying it 'cause
post-production.
They got more time.
Yeah, exactly. It was really working out. in our
Random
favor.
question before we wrap up. What do you like better, the X-Men 90s X-Men or 90s Spider-Man? I always personally liked Spider-Man, but I don't know if I'd have that same opinion if I watched X-Men from the start and went for them back to back. I'm kind of curious where you fall on that.
Oh, I actually really liked X-Men a lot more, but I think it's because I was watching them both from the beginning, and X-Men came first, right?
Yeah, I really liked Spider-Man. Even though the theme song was extremely ridiculous. Spider-Man,
Yeah,
Radioactive.
Spider-Man.
Spider glider.
Spider glider.
What? What are you talking about? I'll just say real quick. Also, more of an X-Men fan than Spider-Man fan, but I watched Spider-Man all the way to the end, and the X-Men cartoon for me the animation and the stories started putting me off, and I never finished it.
Yeah, I need to go back to the original animated X-Men, and actually watch the Age of Apocalypse arc that they did in the last season before they canceled it. Because I love the comics, and I heard that the cartoon was doing it, but I've never got around to watching the cartoon version of it.
Also love the comics.
Did X-Men Evolution ever get like a reevaluation? Or is it like I know people kind of like how I always thought that the character designs were way too erotic for children's television.
And they're very Buffy-esque, which they even lifted directly rotoscoping.
Oh,
But yeah, like there was like an era of Buffy aesthetic, and I think that's what they're trying to go for in X-Men Evolution, which I hear I hear sporadically. Like anyone's ever watched it, so it was really, really good. I just haven't given it a shot. All right. Any place else we can find you, Dr. Falconer?
Yeah, you can find me in
Season 14, episodes 1 and looks like 5 of Mysteries at the Museum. So go watch those. Unfortunately, it used to have my picture on season 14, episode 1 on Amazon Prime, but it looks like any episode where there was an actor's picture, they took it down, and I wonder if that has to do with the actor's strike.
Oh, that's lame.
It is lame, and it makes me feel bad because I like being able to go there and look at my picture and be like,
oh, I did something.
Wait, so what was the show again? Mysteries of Museum?
Mysteries at the Museum. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I did that back in 2017.
Yeah, I'm doing a search for it and your name, and they're like, no, we're not showing you Matt.
No, they're not gonna. I can send you. I did take some screenshots of it, so I'll send them your way.
Please do.
Yeah,
do.
so
I look forward to seeing you in action, man.
I have documentation, but yeah, I'm pretty heavily involved in season 14, episode 1.
Cool, man. Congratulations on that role.
Well, thank you.
All right. You can find all this podcast and a lot more on podgeeks.com. You find this podcast also on the Couch Command Podcast YouTube channel, Couch Command Unlimited. You can find me at Keith Justice on Instagram or at Keith Hayward on Shudder X. I hate that name so much.
Just call it Twitter.
Twitter. You can find me on Twitter.